Welcome to the Seattle Investors Club podcast with Julie Clark and Joe Bauer, where we share the nuts and bolts of real estate investing from our 20-plus years in the industry. Sit back, relax, listen, and immediately take action. Are you ready? Here we go.
Welcome to the Nuts and Bolts of Real Estate Investing podcast. My name is Joe Bauer, and I'm here with my co-host, Julie Clark. Julie, how you doing today?
I am doing awesome, Joe. I can't wait to talk to our guest today. I feel I've been super excited all morning. I drank extra coffee to be prepared to keep up with his energy. What are you doing?
I'm in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, waiting to go snowboarding. They got 5 inches overnight and 11 in the last 24.
Oh my gosh. Did I tell you what? Addison's snowboard got ripped off last weekend at Stevens.
What? No way.
Totally.
From where?
Just in the racks.
You're kidding.
No. Isn't that crazy?
That never happens.
I know. I don't know what this, I have no idea. Somebody might have grabbed it by mistake, but they haven't turned it in or anything like that. So I don't know.
Oh, man.
Knowing her, she probably hid it somewhere because she wants me to buy her a board.
Yeah.
Wouldn't surprise me, that little bugger, but, my gosh, that's something that she would do. She's a creative thinker that way, which leads me to introduce one of our buddies, Jan Wanot. Is that right? Wanot? I never know if I'm saying it right. So you correct me.
You got it, Julie. That's it.
For you guys who don't know Jan, I think many of you do. You will soon know him very well. This guy is a mover and a shaker. He is principal of Equal Housing Group and the founder of WAREI, Washington Real Estate Investing, which is, you want to explain it, Jan? The most active, real estate investors Facebook group that probably exists out there today. I don't know.
It's pretty solid. Pretty stoked on how engaged the group is. Yeah, Washington Real Estate Investing is a Facebook community that I started for investors right when I got started with investment about 3 years ago, just because it was the natural thing to do. And I did it selfishly because, I was going to all the meetups weekly and it was great. But I'm like, well, what about when I'm not at a meetup? I still have questions. I still have things I want to share. How do I do this? The Bigger Pockets forums were great, but I wanted something more local as well. And so I started the group, and now we've got over 6,000 members. I would say dozens of posts, if not on occasion, maybe 100 posts a day. A lot of people asking for recommendations, a lot of people giving value and sharing recommendations, whether you need a capital partner, a business partner, whether you need a contractor or lender, it's all truly there. And so it's just been a really wonderful community. So if you guys want to join it, facebook.com/groups/WAREI, WAREI. And I hope to see you there and connect with you in the group.
Absolutely. I mean, everybody should be on there. We're Seattle Investors Club, as you know, and we tell people to make sure that they join WAREI, of course, right? We say, hey, our Facebook page is fine, but if you really want to plug in, jump on WAREI. We love your group, love you, and can't wait to hear more about your success today, which we've had you on once before, but today we're going to go follow up with you and see what's been happening over the last year. So Joe, kick us off. Let's get to know Jan, see what he's been up to.
Heck yeah. So if you guys want to hear Jan's full story, make sure that you check out seattleinvestorsclub.com/39. But Jan, if you would not mind giving us a brief recap of how you got to where you are today so that people that haven't heard or, we can just kind of quickly recap it, that would be great.
All right. Yeah, absolutely. So, I was born in Poland. My family immigrated to the States when I was 7 years old. Went through single mom, raised 3 boys, went through school, went through college, and I just kind of did what you do. You get a job. And so I got a job at Boeing, and it was great. But I didn't feel passionately about airplanes or about the subject matter. And while it was a cool, sexy job, got to travel a lot with them and be a part of the sales team and commercial contracts team. I was just always looking for that that's something that sparked more joy and more creativity within me. And so I was always trying a side hustle, on nights and weekends, trying to start up different businesses. Nothing panned out. And I would commit to things for a year before trying something else. Eventually, all the other businesses didn't work out. And I said, hey, I'll try renovating a house and investing in real estate. So I bought my first house in Tacoma in end of 2016, renovated it, quick little rehab, got it rented. And I made that first rent check for $1,650. My mortgage was $1,150, and I was like, holy shit, I didn't do anything this month, but I just made $500. And that's when the light bulb went off, right? So that was kind of my light bulb moment. I said, $500 is nothing, but if I can do this 10 times, I can make $5,000 a month, and I can live on that money, right? And so at that point, I took off from Boeing immediately and committed to real estate investing. In my first year, I acquired 10, value add rental units that I renovated. And within about 18 months, I had my 10 units cash flowing at about $500 a piece. And I was able to kind of live on that rental income. And since then, that was kind of my first 18 months or so. In 2018, I focused on MHA, mandatory housing affordability acquisitions. So in the city of Seattle, the city rezoned 27 urban cores or urban villages from single family to multifamily. So we bought 6 of those properties while they were still single family, and most of them got rezoned to multifamily. So that's kind of what I focused on for 2018. 2019 kind of shifted to, okay, I've got a little rental portfolio. This is good. We did some cool development related work and some cool wholesales with MHA. Now I want to focus on bigger commercial assets. So kind of shifted and researched all the commercial asset classes and landed on mobile home and RV parks. So that's kind of been my focus for the last year or so, is mobile home park and RV park acquisitions. We've wholesaled 4 now, and the fees have ranged between about $40,000, and on our biggest one, we made $115,000. And so that's been fruitful. I'm still looking for the perfect one to actually buy for myself. My goal there is to own 100 pads and just have that as cash flow once they're stabilized. So that's kind of what I'm still targeting for this year. And we are getting close on a couple of bigger parks right now. So it's been exciting, and it's been fun to be in real estate, be a real estate investor, and be able to find different things that interest me and really deep dive on those, right? So they say riches are made in the niches, and I've always tried to pick a niche and stick with it for at least a year until I can really nail it down, figure it out, acquire some assets within that niche, and before I move on to the next thing. So that's kind of been my real estate investing journey, and it's just been so incredibly fun, and I love it. I love chatting with you guys. I love the community, and I don't ever plan on doing anything else, right? There's so many different things you can do within real estate investing that I feel very engaged and very happy with my choice here.
That is so awesome. We love watching you kind of declare your goals and then hardcore chasing after them. And I'm curious to know, so on the, you guys did well, like you said, in 2018, you were looking for those rezone properties. Are you still working on those? You're still looking for those properties, or are you just focusing 100% of your effort on this mobile home parks and RV parks at this point?
Yeah, I would say, once I figure out an asset class and really learn it, I would say I never really stopped looking for things within that. Even though I'm not primarily interested in single family or small multis anymore, that's what I really learned and figured out my first 18 months. And so I keep my eyes open for that, and I keep my ears open for those opportunities, right? I'm not going to say no if there is truly a stunner of a deal. And so while I would say about 70% of my time is now focused on mobile home and RV park acquisitions, my eyes and ears are still open for, what I focus on initially, small multis and single value adds.
And why did you take your focus off that? I mean, I think we can probably figure out the answer, but what made you feel like, you know what, I can jump up to bigger deals? Or why did you take your focus off of the single family and small multis? Just want to hear when you decided to take that step up.
Part of it is, in order to feel engaged, I need a new challenge, right? So, I mean, once you do, 4 or 5 deals, you've kind of got the basics down of that strategy. And so for me, it's honestly just a fun challenge to learn the new asset class, but also from a financial perspective, and from a time investment perspective, you think about, I can buy a really crappy fourplex and renovate it and get it stabilized. And it's going to take me, honestly, to get it stabilized, fully leased, and, a great manager in place and all my processes in place. It's going to take me, 8 to 12 months if it's a big rehab. And so that's a lot of time commitment, and so I figured, well, it is great that I'm getting 4 cash flowing units at the end of this year, but why don't I just target, 40 to 50 to 100 space mobile home and RV parks? I'm still going to spend a year to stabilize this thing, right? It's just at a slightly bigger scale, right? Instead of renovating 4 units, now I'm renovating a bigger park, but there's more capital going to the deal. I'm building a bigger team going into the deal. And so I'm still going to be able to stabilize this thing in a year, but at the end of it, I'm going to have 100 cash flowing units or 50 cash flowing units as opposed to 4, right? So it was just kind of a time thing, right? I mean, if you had unlimited time on earth, sure, yeah, just acquire single and small multis for your, the duration of your time. But our time is limited. And so at some point, I think you have to choose for yourself how you're going to scale up, whether that's starting to buy portfolios of single and small multis, or it's, for most investors, I find they eventually find a commercial asset class that they jive with and that they, decide to scale their business up. So for me, it was mobile home parks and RV parks. And that is because I kind of analyzed the various commercial asset classes, and I found that mobile home parks produce the highest risk-adjusted return out of all of them. So while self-storage is easier to manage because it is just concrete boxes, right? No toilets, no wood framing. Your tenants kind of just check their stuff in, and you don't see them for months or years. It is generally a lower cap rate that it's producing as opposed to mobile home parks. The parks that we've bought and sold to other investors, they were, between 8 and 12% capitalization rates, which is just amazing, right? I mean, that means if you buy the property for, let's say it's $1 million park, you buy it for $1 million cash, you're going to make, between $80,000 and $120,000 per year on that asset. That's a simple way to look at cap rate. And so you're just not going to see that kind of a return in most other asset classes. Certainly not.
Let me ask you. So you guys, like you said, you guys wholesaled. I want to say, I don't know what year that was. Was that this year or last year? Or last year, maybe you wholesaled. I think 4 deals where you guys crushed it on, you said 40 to 115,000 is what you're making on your wholesale deals. Those were mobile home parks or RV parks. Correct. What is it on those deals that was the clincher to make you guys wholesale it instead of keep it? I mean, I think, just curious to know, is it just not having the team in place to take it down yet, or having the ability to raise the money that you need to raise yet? Or what's the decision point, how you decide? Is it just not hit the returns you guys are looking for? Because I think what I like about what you're teaching people and what we want to say is that, you don't have to start with flipping and buying, single family homes or, burrs of homes or little small multifamily. That's great. I think, but what people need to understand is if they take the time to make as much effort in educating themselves about that process and starting in a, bigger pool or a bigger asset class, like you said, taking down a, bigger project, they can, right? They can do that. They don't have to start with this onesie twosie thing. And I'm just curious to know, now that you've made the shift, what is it you guys are looking for to actually close and operate? Or you just, maybe that is, the hard part, right? I don't know. Tell me, what about that?
Well, yeah. So, the holdup is not capital. The holdup is not the team. I feel quite confident that, for the right deal, I can raise the capital. I mean, I do have multiple capital partners and credit partners ready and excited and hungry for cash flow via these uncorrelated assets. But the holdup for me is, especially when other people's money is involved, I'm just I've become more risk averse, right? So it has to be a screaming deal because I'm more interested in the assets I own and the portfolio that I've built, in just being basically, one amazing deal after another. So anything that's not amazing, but is still great, I sell to other people, right? I'm never tying up a deal that I wouldn't buy. But if I can pick and choose, and if I'm not in a super hurry to build, a massive portfolio, then of course I'm just going to take my time and truly, close on just the best deals for me. So what that looks like in the mobile home and RV park space is, it needs to be at least 30 to 40 spaces. So we sold a couple that are just smaller than that. And while they were great deals, they weren't big enough for my taste. And then it needs to be a double-digit cap rate within 1 year, right? So, and preferably, 20% or better cap rate, which sounds crazy, but when you do your own off-market acquisition work, we are finding these deals that, can be 20 and 30 caps. And that's the kind of asset that I'm excited about having in my portfolio. So it's strictly I prefer to do home runs than just base hits. I'm just more interested in, every deal being amazing as opposed to higher volume. And there's not to say that higher volume investors, there's anything wrong with. I think that's awesome. I know a lot of guys that just buy a lot of stuff, and a lot of gals as well. And, some of it is amazing and some of it isn't great, but, it balances out to be a great portfolio. For me personally, it's just every deal needs to be a home run. So that's all it's been. And I think you'll see over the next year that we will find a couple of those home runs, and that's what I'll be excited about. And that's where I'll feel comfortable, taking other people's money and putting it to good work, because, as a newer investor, I think you have to exercise that level of diligence as a partner to someone, and someone that's going to entrust you with their capital. I think it's just really our duty to ensure that, there's such a high margin that even when things go wrong, as they invariably do, you're still going to be okay, and you're still going to be able to return their capital and make them good money on their investment. So that's what I've done previously, and that's all I plan to do in the future is ensure that there are strong returns for anyone that I'm partnering with.
As an investor, I invest with other groups such as Ryan Gibson and those guys over at Spartan and some others. And I'll tell you, we just interviewed Tim Schultz, who's Joe Ollis's partner at SmartCap, which is they are buying OZ properties and doing developments and have graduated into, being able to purchase huge, downtown core office buildings and so forth like that. And I asked them, do you guys ever, basically, are you nervous the fact that because they are using a bunch of like higher up Microsoft people's money. That's where they came out of. And I go, aren't you nervous that these high net worth individuals are relying on you? And they said they have a lot of nights of lost sleep. I mean, it's like a constant worry that you are managing like that other people's money. For me personally, I could not handle that pressure, and that's why you'll never see me doing like that. But I will tell you that the people that I do invest with, from the perspective of what I'm looking for, just if that helps you, is that because you will get to that point. I know you are almost there yourself, is that I'm looking for somebody that I hate to say it, I almost don't even care what the property is, because I'm actually investing in the team and the people, right? And the level of due diligence they do. I think that, people who lead with going into excruciating detail about their due diligence process and their study of the market and the demand of the market, or the needs that need to be fulfilled with that product in the market, that's what makes me comfortable, just as from somebody that invests with others, giving you my little insider tip on what people I think like me care about is the trust on the due diligence side, that you are a ninja expert due diligence person.
And that's absolutely it.
Yeah, that is conservative, right? So if the word conservative doesn't come out your mouth in the first 5 or 10 minutes, then that would alarm me for my own investing, right?
I agree 100%. Yeah, we have a 350 row due diligence checklist with any mobile home park that we are working on buying. And, my goal is that I'm able to present something and it's difficult for them to come up with questions, because I've thrown so much research and data at them that I've answered all the questions that they would have had. Right. So it has to be that. It absolutely has to be that, because if you're going to be a steward of someone else's hard-earned money, you have to give them that confidence. So when I have needed to raise, 100,000 or 200,000 on a couple of my previous projects, it came very easily because of how prepared I was, right? And right. I would do nothing less, because again, it's not a game, right? This is someone else's, savings and earnings, right? It takes time and a lot of work to build this up, and so I'm extremely careful with it, and so.
So tell us, let's do a deep dive more on you. And so what does a week look like for you? What is an average? Everybody wants to get to know you. You're the guy, you are a special character. I think you're unique. And I think that people can relate to you. They, as far as, your striving for success, your focus, I'll say, or not focus sometimes. And I think people want to know, what does a week look like? A daily, just like week in the life of Jan. What does that look like for you? Is there consistency? Is it inconsistent?
I would say there's consistency among the activities that I know are highest and best use, right? So for me, I love structuring deals. I love finding a deal and a bargain. So I would say there's the consistency in that I make sure that I carve out time. I'm looking at the market daily. There's real strong consistency and systems in place for our acquisitions related work with mobile home and RV parks, right? So it's surprising how few hours we work on it, but because we've built the systems, it just doesn't require as many hours. I would say that the most labor.
Let's go through that. So if let's say you're sitting down to have a day where you're going to go hunt deals, which can be out of state, right?
Right.
For you guys, what does that look like? What do you do? I mean, let's say you've exhausted all your deals, or whatever deals you're working on have been, moved forward, and they're doing what they need to do for the moment, and you're like, okay, let's go dig out some more deals right now. Sure. What does that process look for you? And do you have a team that does that with you? Do you guys, what is the first thing you would do? You want to go buy properties in whatever state, mobile home parks, you research the market, you decide this is a good spot, or do you just pull all the mobile home parks in the United States and the ones that are above a certain size, you're going to call them, or how does that work for you?
Yeah, it's a mix of both. So for our own acquisitions, we're focused on buying parks in Washington. So we have a list of every single mobile home park in the country. It's about 50,000 parks. And
How did you get that list? Just hard work?
No, so just smart work. So I believe in investing in education. And so when I got started with this, I invested in the Frank and Dave Mobile Home Park boot camp. It's a 2-day event where Frank and Dave, the 5th largest mobile home park owners, give you kind of the nuts and bolts of mobile home parks, if you will. And so they provide at the end of that class a list of each address of every mobile home park in the country. So what our deal funnel looks like, right, is first we have this raw data of just addresses, right? So then I have 2 virtual assistants in the Philippines who, we pay between $5 and $7 per hour to pop. I built out a process to have them go ahead and take the address, put it into the correct parcel viewer for each jurisdiction, and then update us with who is the current owner. And then we have a process that they use that we've built for skip tracing. So if it's owned by an LLC, we need them to go into the corporations division of that state, find the annual report of that LLC, and find who are the governors of that LLC, and then get their contact information either directly from the annual reports, which that's public data, or we use a skip tracing software to then go and find their phone numbers. And then at that point, once we have a list of, a couple hundred for the week, my partners do cold calls for Washington parks. So they cold call just about 100 people a week. It's not that intensive. If you don't have time to cold call 20 people, a week, and you're hungry for deals, then, this might not be the right business for you. I mean, it takes some marketing outreach. So you've got to, if you want a deal funnel, you have to be doing marketing, right? You can't just rely on what's on the market. There's too many eyes on the market. So we cold call for Washington leads, and that's how we've gotten every single one of our deals, cold calls. And
there you go, guys. The cold calling, like you said, I think cold calling is underrated. I think cold calling is the way to go, right? I mean,
listen, cold calling business owners is one thing. Cold calling single family homeowners, not business owners, is a different thing, a different beast. So, I've tried cold calling single family homeowners, and they're mostly, I would say, confused. They're like, what is this? Why are you calling me? This is my primary residence. I've been here for 20 years. It's honestly a bit of an uphill battle. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm not saying don't try it. I'm saying for me, the results haven't been great. Now, when you cold call a business owner, they're not confused. They know exactly why you're calling. You're calling to conduct business with them. That's what they already do, right? So the results that we have, it takes us about 400 cold calls to land a contract, right? I know that number because we track our numbers. So it's not, and I would think with single family, it's a lot more than just calling 400 numbers to get a deal. But we know what our funnel looks like. So we know if we cold call 400 people, we're going to get a contract. That's been our average. And so, if we need another deal or we need another 2 deals this month, we know exactly what we got to do based on.
And what does it look like for you when they don't answer the phone? Do you leave a voicemail or not? I cold call, and I have a voicemail series. So I pre-record a voicemail, and then I have my assistant just pound on cold calling. And and we leave a message. And it's amazing because I have people calling me back that they're like, hey, Julie, it's Dave. They just go straight into it. I'm like, who the hell is this? I'm thinking, and they're talking like I know them because I've, my assistant cold called, on the weekend. I just have her. This is somebody, my assistant has another job, but she's a canon. So on the weekend, she takes the lists and I give her a pre-recorded voicemail, and she just calls. If she gets somebody on the phone, she talks to them And if she doesn't, she leaves a voicemail. And it is amazing that people actually will call back when they're ready.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. And so, we absolutely leave a message. We also started doing ringless voicemails. It's a really nice, cheap way to get, more mass marketing out, right? Of course, we love cold call and mobile home and RV parks. And I think you'll find as you anyone that's listening, as you move into commercial asset classes, you'll realize that it is a relationship-based business, just like all of real estate, but especially with someone that has been operating a business for 10 or 20 years. They want to have a relationship. So they're not always going to be the most responsive to a postcard necessarily, but if you've called them a few times and they realize you are, an investor that they can trust to potentially take over their business, then, that they're more likely to sell. So that's why we still do cold calls, but we absolutely employ
How about
other.
Texting? You guys text at all?
Yes, I had an intern work for me while we were doing the MHA acquisitions, and he actually built a custom JavaScript piece of code for me that opens up iMessage on my computer and replicates human keystrokes on my computer, and it mail merges in the person's name and address. So it goes, "Hey, John, we drove by your property at 123 Main Street. Just wanted to know if you're still the owner." And it will send out 1,000 texts a day like that. So we employ every marketing method, right? So the text we actually do for free. Now you can text people through an app for pretty cheap, like 5 cents.
And I'll say as a side note, you guys, if you didn't listen to our podcast with Lead Sherpa, right, on some of the tips, there's, that industry is changing and being regulated, and it's now texts are getting blocked. And it's really important to have almost like a message series. Everybody needs who's in the texting game. And if you're not, you need to be. You need to listen to that podcast. Joel, drop it in the show notes to give you guys the tips on current happenings and things you need to know on text to get your messages to even go through.
Right.
Out there, but
you definitely have to be aware of the legalities around it. We just recently started the ringless voicemails, and we found out actually that, so I'm not don't quote me on this because my business partner is the one that handles the RVM system, but he said he was just doing research, and it's actually not illegal to send an RVM to the people on a do not call list, but it is illegal to call them if they're on a do not call list and you source their number, through a skip trace. So, you do have to be aware of the laws and regulations around it, and is ever changing, right? Because this is all new, and we certainly don't want to be breaking the law. And we want to be respecting people that have, taken the time to put themselves on a do not call list. But we'll employ every marketing method that is, legal and reasonable. And we also recognize that some of this can be intrusive. So we try to be reasonable about how we reach out to people. Say, "Hey, we know this is kind of random, but we found we drove by your property, and if you're still the owner, we'd love to chat with you. Thanks for your time." You still have to be, respectful in your marketing. You don't want to blast people and start a relationship off in a rough way. So.
Hey guys, it's Julie here with a quick break from the show to discuss an opportunity some of you may have interest in, which is to work more closely with me. On almost a daily basis, I get calls from investors and brokers, both new and experienced, asking me for guidance or advice. I love helping you guys out, and it keeps me on my toes too. So with that said, I wanted to let you know that I have a private broker coaching community called the VIP Education Community. And the best part is that it's 100% free. That's right, it's free to join. So whether you're a traditional broker or a broker investor, my VIP education community offers personalized one-on-one coaching from not just me, but also from my experienced broker friends with expertise in all disciplines of real estate and real estate investing. We'll teach and share our modern marketing strategies, our tech and lead generation resources, plus teach you how to identify or offer up opportunities for yourself or for your clients using techniques such as seller financing, lease options, land entitlement deals, BRRRR investing, flipping, multifamily or commercial coaching, whatever you like. we've got it all covered for you. The future of real estate is changing fast, and to stay in the game, it's time to learn about all the options you can offer your buyer and seller clients, as well as, if you want, learn how to use those skills to grow your own real estate portfolio. If you'd like more details about joining my VIP education community, reach out to me at julie@seattleinvestorsclub.com or text me at 206-910-2985 or just send me a Facebook message. My new favorite phrase is community equals confidence. So let's navigate the future of real estate together. Now, back to the show.
So let's say you get somebody on the horn there and they're like, yeah, let's talk about it. What are the top first 5 questions you might ask that person when you get them on the phone?
Yeah, so first it's, rapport building, seeing if they're, if they've considered selling. It's rapport building, seeing if they've considered selling, and then it's just simple data gathering. So, for mobile home and RV parks, the most important pieces of data for us are, okay, what is your average space rent, right? And with mobile home and RV parks, you typically only own the land, and you rent a piece of land for someone to park their RV or to have their mobile home park on your land. So, in Washington, it's between $300 and $600 for space rents. So we want to know that. Then we want to know how many spaces there are. And we already probably have some info. So we just kind of confirm, hey, how many of them are occupied? So now we know space rent, how many are occupied. And what we're trying to get to is a net operating income. So how we get to NOI is get to first an annual gross revenue. So we go, let's say it's $300 a month for space rent. There's 100 occupied spaces, right? So what is that? $30,000 a month times 12 months. So then we have our gross figure for the year. Then we apply a operating expense ratio. For us, we apply a 40% OPEX ratio to that. So let's say it's, $360,000 of gross revenue for the year. We'll multiply that times 0.6, which leaves 40% for operating expenses. So we go 360K times 0.6, and we end up with a estimated net operating income of $216,000. So net operating income is revenue minus operating expenses, but does not include the principal on the mortgage, and it also excludes capital expenditures. And so if we know the NOI is 216 and we know the guy wants $2 million for the park, we take the NOI and divide it by the price they want. So 216 divided by 2 million equals 10.8 cap, right? And so now we know the cap rate at their asking price, and we evaluate, is this a deal for us? Now, if someone wanted to sell me a 100-space park in a decent metropolitan statistical area at a 10 cap, I would jump right on that shit and send them a PSA very quickly, right? Typically, their sellers, need a little education on how a bank or how an investor today is going to capitalize their income and what kind of a cap rate, these parks are trading at. Usually they have some number that they just came up with randomly, or they are hoping for. But we just try to show them our process and kind of help them understand that this is what we can do. We're here for you if you want it. And so we'll send them, if they're not sure how they want to proceed, we'll send them an offer options proposal. That is a template I created, which outlines what the different structures that we can propose to them are for a sale, like seller financing or a standard cash out transaction. We can also do.
Is that just like are you giving them numbers, or are you giving them just like a letter, that outlines the options without a contract?
I wish we were doing a video so I could show everyone, but anyone that's interested, hit me up and I'll send it to you. It's a really nice detailed overview of the various structures with numbers included, right? So if, for example, if we offer, we'll offer usually at least 2 options. So we'll do, hey, we can pay $2 million for this as a cash out transaction, but if you want more money, then you can become the bank and give us seller financing. Well, we'll pay $2.2 million for that. Here's what your monthly mortgage that we'll make to you is going to look like, right? With no work on your end. Here is how we can amortize the loan. Here is how much down
And
we'll
is
make.
the extra 200,000 you're paying them in the form of paying them interest, or is it in the form of increasing your purchase price?
We'll increase the purchase price just because if we don't have to deal with a bank, then we will incentivize that by paying a higher price. And then on top of that higher price, they're also going to earn interest income over the course of the loan. And so it's better for everyone involved. That is, if you've built enough trust and rapport with the seller for them to give you a loan. And so in about 30% of our instances, we were able to negotiate fantastic seller finance terms that are better than we could get from a bank. And it allows them to continue to receive a monthly check from their property, again, without having to do any work, right? So it truly is the best option for all involved parties, but there has to be a high level of trust, and there has to be a decent level of sophistication from the seller to be able to, wrap their head around becoming the bank.
Awesome stuff. Lots of trial and error, I'm sure. So let's talk about the last year real quick, and what you've accomplished for yourself in the last year. I know that I think you wanted to own 100 pads, your 2019 goal might've been to own 100 pads. I think you probably wholesaled more than 100 pads on your
unfortunately.
But what is it that you have accomplished in the last year? We recently had a little mini celebration of Jan reaching some personal goals of his, but what are you the proudest of that you've accomplished in the last year? That could be personally or, in your deals or whatever.
Mm-hmm. This was a little bit over a year ago, I think, but probably my proudest accomplishment in real estate investing is being able to take care of my mom, because she sacrificed everything for us in taking, raising 3 boys on her own, working 2 jobs. And so I looked at her 401k. It had a laughable amount of money in there. I was like, Mom, you're 60 years old. We have to change this. And so, I kind of analyzed her finances, and her biggest expense, as most people's biggest expense, was her rent expense. She's throwing away whatever, $1,400 on rent. I'm like, okay, how do we change this? So I was able to find a triplex I bought in Tacoma for $200,000. Only needed 70,000 of rehab. So 270 was my all in there. And I got the middle and basement unit rented to cover the mortgage, and she lives in the upstairs unit, which I did the nicest finishes on, and it's got a view of of downtown Tacoma and the mountain, a little bit of the water, and she lives there for free now, so she's able to save money. And
that is awesome.
Yeah, and so that's probably my proudest accomplishment in real estate investing, is just being able to take care of her. But I did hit a fun personal financial goal, which was hitting $1 million net worth before turning 30. And honestly, it wasn't that difficult. I gotta say it. Through real estate investing, it's just not that hard. I mean, if you buy, decent deals and the market does its thing and it appreciates, and you force some appreciation through value add, $1 million is very achievable. I mean, I just did it within 3 years. So,
and what kind of projects got you there? Was it all in Washington, or?
Yeah, it was strictly City of Seattle, City of Tacoma, value add, single and small multifamily rentals. So, for example, that triplex I bought for Mom for 200 plus 70 rehab, that appraised for 560. Right. So, right there, I have almost $300,000 in equity. That took me 6 months. Right. So it's really, if you find great under market deals, right? So you've already got equity immediately without doing anything if you're buying under market, and then you force additional appreciation through renovation and value add, you're adding equity there. And then the market, appreciates a little, and suddenly, you're sitting on quite a bit of equity. So, my lifestyle hasn't changed at all since I hit, $1 million net worth. I drive a $5,000 car that I bought in cash. I'm pretty frugal. I don't, my biggest expense annually is I love to travel. So, I'm seeing 9 new countries this year, and I'm happy to spend money on those
Awesome.
experiences. But, for the most part, it's just, I just keep trucking along, and the properties kind of just keep trying to find good deals. And, there's.
Let me ask you, what do you think is your superpower? I feel like you have people listen to you, people respect you. They see, you're in a position of authority with WAREI. What do you think is your superpower that has allowed you to? What are you good at? You know what I mean? What are you good at, and what do you feel that you can? What's going to be the thing that carries you through to ultimate success as high as you want to go?
I think I'm good at being. I think I'm good at deciding, making a decision on something and kind of coordinating the efforts and finding the right people and getting people excited about a shared goal and and executing. And so I think that's probably one of my strengths, as well as just kind of being a creative problem solver and not feeling I'm feel almost no shame for any reason. I mean, if there's an idea I'm excited about, I don't care how other people feel about it, And so I think
that's what makes you so relatable. Why people want to be around you, want to learn from you, because you're not worried about anything other than putting the word out, even if that's like, honking the horn that you had a big win, or say, I want to know, more about like who are your mentors as well? Like, who do you look up to? Anybody here local or national that, you feel like has, given you the ability to, not have fear? We all have fear. I think everybody has fear of failure, obviously, right? Or fear that they have to start small instead of going for it big. I look at you and I'm like, this guy will take on anything. He'll just go straight at it and take it on. He'll research it. He'll study it until he knows the ins and outs of it. And then he'll go get it done. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That I think is a superpower of yours, is that you're like you're just like you're focused. When you focus on wanting to accomplish something, you go at it until you figure it out and get it done. And I'm just curious to know, who are your mentors? Who do you look up to here locally? Maybe that's Augie helped you out. I don't know.
It is, yeah. So I would say, I look up to guys that are just a few steps ahead of me, right? Because, I listen to everyone. I think it's important that you listen to everyone and be respectful. But I don't take advice from everyone, right? I listen, but I don't put things into action unless I want to emulate you directly, right? And so the guys that are in my kind of inner circle are, definitely Augie Bukowski, Ryan Gibson, and Bob Thomas. Those are kind of three
stellar, yes.
Yeah, 3 local guys that are, a couple of steps ahead of me in various ways, and that I know I can count on for evaluating my work and giving me, a green light or not. And so, you said, we all have fear, and everyone has fear, and there's always risk involved, but you can really hedge that fear, and you can really hedge that risk with just more preparation and having people in your circle that, you can trust to and who want the best for you, right? And
absolutely. I mean, that is, in fact, that is my entire show as well, Jan. I believe that community equals confidence. That's like my favorite term right now. What I've noticed is that when people have courage, if they get into a community where there can be some collaboration, and you surround yourself with people who are expertise in whatever, have expertise or more experience, and in what it is that you need to know. You don't have to know everything, but having a inner circle, I guess you'll say, or in a community that that whenever you have a question, they're going to be there to help you answer it. That courage then turns into confidence and, pushes people forward to take action, and like I said, it doesn't mean they have to be your business partner. Just like you said, an inner circle of people that have expertise on the things that you want to know. And, I know that you also have created that type of community through some of your master classes that you tell us about the master class stuff that you have going on. And is that like a series? When does it happen?
Yeah. So the masterclass is called Step One to Wealth. And it is basically all of the info, strategy, guidance, tools, processes, contracts, and everything else you would need to know to successfully acquire your first or, one of your first investment properties. So I host this masterclass. It's an intensive 2 days of instruction. The first day focuses on acquisition and financing structures, generating deal flow, and closing on your investment property. And the second day focuses on adding value to your investment property, managing contractors, managing tenants. And we also go into some bonus lessons of, off-market marketing work. And then after the 2 days is over, we'll do a bi-weekly webinar to practice analysis. That's critical, is that you are spending time with someone more experienced than you and practicing analysis. And, I give kind of homework assignments. We have a private Facebook group for anyone that's been a student of the class, where just this morning I posted a deal that came on market in Seattle. It's basically a triplex for $650. I'm not sending this to everyone. I'm just sending this to the kind of the folks that have been in the class, and giving them first look at how I find value, right? How I search the market, what I'm doing this week for off-market work. And so it's just been a great way for me to give back to the community. I get, as you might imagine, 6,000 people in WAREI. I get a lot of people that say, hey, how should I get started? And, I get a lot of questions of, can you look at this deal? Well, unfortunately, I don't have time to look at every single deal, because I would never be doing anything else besides helping other people. So I thought, I'm interested in helping other people, but I have to know that they're committed to this. And I want to make sure I'm putting my best foot forward with giving them truly all the content and structure that I can, that I've learned the hard way, and give it to them in kind of a more structured format. And so the class is $18.95 for the 2-month class. And I think that is a reasonable investment, considering out of my first class of 13 students, during the 3-month class, we had 6 investment properties purchased by that group of 13 students. So, if you think about, like I said, having that inner circle and having someone that can support you, you can either pay someone, like you can pay me and I'll support you in that way. Or you can try to go and add value to these people's lives, right? And so you either pay with time or you pay with money to get these mentors, right? For all the mentors I have, I've done things for them that they've seen the value in what I've provided them, and that's the only reason they're giving something back to me, right? So you can have 2 options there, right? You can either go hustle and work for someone, or you can, sign up for a class like this, and you can get a lot of the guidance and structure that you would get from a mentor that you just
honestly met. It's a fast track, right?
Yeah, that's all.
It's absolutely a fast track, and definitely I feel just being, yes, you're going to learn a bunch of stuff, and like he said, you're going to, you've had success of people getting deals right in the middle of the class. You know what I think, guys? It is putting yourself in the circle of being around people that want to hustle. Just the amount of discussions and extra questions and being in the room on something like that is absolutely worth it. Like I said, I have, similar situation for real estate brokers myself, but I agree. I'm happy to send people your way that want to learn how to get their first deal or 2. That's not what I'm teaching, but surrounding yourself with people that are having different experiences with somebody sharing the fast track on how to happen, man, that is so worth it, just to be part of the group, let alone what you're going to learn, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, they say you become the average of the 5 people you spend most time with, and I believe that, really, and so people, I think sometimes they don't want to feel like, oh well, I'm the newbie in this group, and that's exactly what I want to feel like. I want to feel like I'm the worst performing person out of my inner circle. That's absolutely the goal, because guess what? Then the only way I have to go is up. So you have to surround yourself with people that make you feel kind of, like you're such a noob, right? And you're just like, hey, what do I have to add to this? Well, you better have some, creative energy, and you better have some hustle to add. But for the most part, yeah, I definitely want to be the small fish in the big pond at all times.
Absolutely, because being in a community doing that, it gives people courage, right? And then when you collaborate, that turns into confidence, which turns into a success. That is, I highly believe that. Aside from the relationships that you're probably going to make out of something like that, to help each other do deals and stuff like that as well. So is that masterclass? Is that something that you do? Is there a schedule for it? Did you say when the next one is coming up? When's the next one?
So I'm doing this class right now. I'm doing it twice a year. It takes a ton of my time and energy. So I'm doing it twice a year, and the next one is upcoming now. You can sign up now, and the 2 days of full instruction are at the end of this month, March 28th, 29th. We've got 6 awesome people committed. I keep the class under 12 to 15, so I've got room for 5 or 6 more right now. And it starts 28th, 29th, and then you're in the private Facebook group. We do a bi-weekly webinar, and then we're also going to do walkthroughs of a new construction site I have in work where I'm building 2 adult family homes. That is going to be a build and hold project that's going to bring in about 20 grand a month. And you're going to be able to also walk through a really heavy rehab I'm doing for my new primary residence in West Seattle. And I can kind of walk you through the process of, down to the studs remodel as well. So a lot of cool opportunities. It's been a great class for the folks that have taken it. I've gotten good feedback. And so definitely, if you are working on your first deal, or want to learn some new systems and processes for scaling up, and you've already done a couple deals, then the class is probably a great fit for you. And
it doesn't matter what type of deal they want to buy, right?
We focus on residential primarily, but yeah, I mean, whether you want to do a flip, an Airbnb, a short-term rental, a furnished rental, a wholesale, a buy and hold, I've done all of that. And so I will, I feel confident in teaching you how to do any of that for your first time. I'll also cover in brief, some of the commercial assets that I work on analyzing, as well as new development. So those are kind of extra little bonuses that are thrown in there. But yeah, anything that you want to do that's residential, I've kind of run the gamut of those projects. And so we will cover everything. And I also bring in quite a few professionals and guys that are just killing it in the local area, like Augie. Mark Canton does a tax presentation. My business partner is going to do a marketing presentation on setting up your off-market work. And so I try to bring in people that are kind of really excelling in what they do as well. So you get kind of the best of all worlds.
Awesome stuff. Well, good stuff. I know you got a big meeting coming up today, so we don't want to keep you too much longer, but so it's March of 2020. And what's the goal for you personally for 2020?
You know what? My goal, right? My financial goal is $10,000 a month net passive income. And I am on track for that. Once I lock down my first, 40 plus unit mobile home park, and I finish the build of this adult family home, I should be well over that. And that's just kind of a fun financial goal. I still am working on, finding the perfect mobile home park and RV park for me to own personally with my team. And so we'll work to hit that 100 pad goal. We're working a 75 pad lead right now in Oregon. that looks like it may come to fruition. So that would get us most of the way there. But yeah, continuing to work on more of the same for this year. And, just want to continue to empower the community. I love elevating other people in their life situation. And so I want to do more of that through my class and continue having fun and keep rocking it. Sounds good. Yeah.
And we'll see you this summer at the Pacific Northwest Big Badass Real Estate Expo. Will you be there?
You certainly will. Yes, I will be a part of it. I will be there. I may be doing a workshop again this year. Last year I taught SketchUp, a 3D modeling tool for real estate investment.
Awesome.
Showed people how to model out a site plan and an exterior plan. So may do something again this year, and that will be a great time. Big supporter of Tarl.
Excellent. Us as well. So we hope to see you guys all there. Well, we're going to shut it down here, guys, because I know Jan's got some VIP meetings he's got to get to here this morning, and we appreciate your time. You guys, where can they find out more about the masterclass, or where can they, get details on that if they want to sign up?
Yeah, honestly, the best way to connect with me is Facebook. It's kind of funny where we are in 2020, but I actually regularly conduct business through Facebook Messenger. I've done deals through Facebook. So please reach out to me on Facebook. My name is spelled JANWANOT, and find the group WAREI. I've posted details about the class there. I'll be promoting it again this week, as we still have, you can still save a couple $100 on the class for the remainder of the week, and then it's going to go to the full price. So please reach out to me in the group and scan the group, and you'll find a post about the class. I'll be sharing more this week. So
awesome.
Thank you guys so much, Joe and Julie. I love you guys. You guys are doing awesome business. You do great content for the community. So keep doing what you're doing. I know a lot of people gain a ton of value from this. So I just want to, say respect to you guys, and please keep it up.
Mutual respect, brother. Mutual respect. Okay, guys, remember, it's who you surround yourself with. And, you know what my last idea is, Jan? I would almost like to have a local, maybe you could put your head together with me on this, kind of a local collective genius is something that I've been thinking about. I'd like to talk to you about that separately, but
let's do it. I already host not a lot of people know about this because I don't advertise it, but I actually have created a small mastermind for new development. So I've got 10 people in there, people like Thatch and Augie, and we kind of connect, and Ryan, we connect on a regular basis.
Nice.
And so I would love to do that on, focus on a different topic, right? Maybe we do one just for buy and hold, or one for a different strategy. But yeah, I'm a big fan of masterminds, and again, surrounding yourself with the right people. So I would love to collaborate with you on that, Julie. Yeah, let's do it.
All right, guys. Well, Jan, thanks again. And Joe, where can people find the details of today's podcast, as well as Jan's previous podcast? And we've actually done podcasts with some of the other people mentioned that Jan collaborates with as well. So you can look and find those up, listen to the podcast, scroll through them all. But where can they find the details of today's podcast, Joe?
Yeah, the details and show notes and links to everything and the other podcasts that have been mentioned can be found at seattleinvestorsclub.com/108. That's seattleinvestorsclub.com/108. And if you guys enjoy this podcast, we'd love it if you'd give us a review and or hit the subscribe button. We actually had another review this week, but it hasn't popped up yet, so we can't read it on the show. But once it does there, we will thank you and read that on the show.
Awesome, guys. Well, thanks for listening, and we will talk to you next time.
Thanks for listening to the Seattle Investors Club podcast. If you have questions that you'd like to have answered on the show, shoot us an email at info@seattleinvestorsclub.com. Now go out, take that action, and build that real estate business. Thanks for listening.